up, everybody? Welcome to our challenge after show. It's Pam and I tonight. Dan is on an airplane right now going to South Carolina. Not where he grew up on a lake, but pretty close. We know him as our lake boy. So we're missing him tonight, but we're going to do a special Thanksgiving episode, just the nuts and bolts of this episode. Excited to have my girl Pam, my Jersey girl. So we're going to break this episode down. So thank you for watching. First things, Pam, we get into the house, obviously, and we have what Dan loves to call the little vignettes, the opening scenes of the episode. I don't think anything of huge significance or importance here, but obviously we see that Devin and Tori sort of rehash what happened last week. Funny that TJ got them a boat. Of course, it's always TJ is the mastermind behind everything, right? So we're like, okay, so TJ gets you guys a boat. Doesn't come though, doesn't want to come, but what a nice gift of him. What a great thing for him to do for you guys to hang out. But Devin he is butthurt. He is really taking this very personally. You can see he's having tension with Tori. He's like sitting away from the rest of the group on the boat, not really trying to hang out with her. So we see that he obviously is taking this very personally. He seems to have some kind of emotional investment, obviously, in the fact that Tori is now on a new team. And because she has to play with that team, it's now an attack on Devin, right? So what are your thoughts on the conversation between Tori and Devin and how they're working through what happened last episode?
Okay. First of all, Devin is out of his mind. Like, I feel like Josh and Devin got a little too close. Devin's playing all personal, baby, all sorts of butthurt about this. And it's like, Devin, he blamed, I think at some point, he's like, this is really on Amanda and Tori because I liked having Josh. I'm like, you are reaching so far up your own ass that it's funny. Okay, so blaming them, if Devin really wanted Tori and Josh, furthermore, to stay on his team, he could have fought with Josh 2 weeks ago and been like, Tori's not the least valuable. If someone has to go, if you're telling Amanda who to take, then it's Nani. I'm sorry, but it's Nani. If you want to keep everybody on this team, to blame Tori that Josh went home almost more than Kyle, it's just, I feel like Devin is really deluding himself now to a point where it's not funny. We need Devin to be our comic relief. Devin and Kyle are both like not being funny anymore. They're like a little nutty. I guess when you get that close, I mean, I get it.
Devin has never been that close
to the money.
Yeah, and exactly in in relation to what you're saying, I feel like Devin likes to take the credit when things are going well, but then things are not going up to a certain standard, he wants to blame everybody else, or when things start to fall through the cracks a little bit. So Tori is just simply on a new team now. She's not going to fight for you anymore. She has to look out for herself. She can't make sacrifices for you. So you can't
not play for you.
It's right. Not you. Yeah.
How could you do that? How could you do that to me? How could you play on a team not fighting for me? It's like, because now I'm not on your team, you nutter. And also,
nutter.
Skipping to the end. Yeah, nutter. Skipping to the end, it's like, when he was like, right, it's just not personal, it's a game. Just like if you play against, it's like we all know throwing someone into an elimination is very different than playing for the team you're on. He's acting like saying someone's name and picking them to go into elimination is the same thing as not throwing a game because you have a friend on the other team.
And it seems to be a theme because he keeps bringing up this one trenches challenge. And the next elimination, like, we're moving on. And
that is to bring up for him. And the fact that he's pretending not to take it personally, it's like, fine. Just like if I throw you into elimination, it's not personal. Even she got that though. She was like, it wouldn't be. I would get that was. I mean, I think she's a bigger person than I am. That's a lot more personal than playing well for the team you're now on against your choice.
And what sucks too is that Devin, he also lacks accountability of when he does hurt people's feelings. And that's what Tori was trying to communicate to him, because Tori could understand why he was upset. And I think we all can understand a little bit of his perspective. but it doesn't justify the way he acted towards her. Like, I could understand him being annoyed or angry that Tori's no longer on his team and now he's had her as a competitor, an opponent, instead of somebody who's playing for him. And maybe he put a lot of stock into that alliance, but the way he acted was just so over the top and unjustified that it doesn't warrant how mean he was to her and how kind of he was gaslighting her and manipulating the situation to make her feel like she was wrong. She was the problem, not the situation, not the parameters at hand. So what's annoying is that Tori has finally come to the surface because she felt a little bit, she was feeling the heat from Devin last week. And I think that he got under her skin and gaslit her and made her feel like it was her fault. But now she's starting to realize what you did was wrong. You hurt my feelings. And I would just simply like an apology, but he won't even do that. He won't just apologize to her.
And that's why I think he's like bumped his head. He believes he's like, for hurting, I can't control if I hurt someone's feelings. Like his indignant, it's like, you didn't accidentally hurt my feelings by saying I hate the color red and I've got red hair. How could you say? Like, it wasn't a passive feeling hurting. Like, he attacked her as being selfish and everything that he's being in his attack. And I don't think he sees it. I think it's like, that's how one-sided your view about this is, that you think Tori should be playing for you. You thought Amanda should be playing for you. He thinks everyone that is a friend, and this is the Josh that I hate. Like, I'm trying to keep you safe. It's like, you didn't keep her on your team. And now she's going to do what she has to do. And as a friend, you should divorce yourself from being hurt about that and be like, of course you have to do what you have to do. I'm still on a team that's 5 versus 3. So you're still, and if you still have the odds against you.
If you keep using the word friend and you want to say, I can't apologize for every time I hurt somebody's feeling, well, if that's your friend, that is actually what you do. That's called being a friend. If you hurt somebody's feelings, even if you didn't mean to, maybe you want to defend yourself a little bit. Maybe you want your perspective shown. That's fair. However, you do apologize. You do try to see their side. You have to understand you hurt their feelings and you do apologize, Devin. Like, basically, you're just being a dick. That's all. Point blank, period. You're being a dick.
Yeah. Exactly. And Amanda is a different code of conduct, and like, I'm really enjoying her. But she tweeted like, oh, I love seeing a fake ass bitch exposed. Like, Tori's the fake ass bitch,
right,
for trying to win against her friends. Like, Tori's friends with them. Josh and Devin are not Tori's best ride or die friends to the end. Like, I'll sacrifice $1 million for you.
Right.
And Amanda's a different, you're not a player the way Tori is. I'm sorry. No offense. You're not. For you to give up your spot for $1 million for a friend, like, who might actually win it, is different than Tori lose throwing a game that she could win because to not hurt Josh and Devin's feelings. Like, that's not what I call a fake ass bitch being exposed. It's like, that's not fake. That's like, yeah, I want to win, and I wanted to win on a team with them. And now I'm not on a team with them. It's not a game of friendship. We're not playing show me you're the good friend. We're playing, to win $1 million with your team. Again, that she didn't want to leave their team to begin with. So if they were this concerned about Tori not their team, they should have fought a little harder for her.
Exactly. And there's a few things with that. I think that in these seasons now more than ever, these friendships are so much heavier than in the past, where people were friends, yes, and they had alliances, but they always understood it was a game at the end of the day. But it's getting really slippery in these seasons where these are really strong friendships outside of the games because the challenges are being filmed and produced so often. I feel like these are truly like colleagues and actual real life friends to all of these castmates that they really feel a responsibility to trying to make sure their friend gets an opportunity to win $1 million as well. So I understand that that's so emotionally hard. You never want to hurt somebody. I wouldn't want to do that to my friend either. I wouldn't want them to feel betrayed or backstabbed, but there has to come a point where you have to realize it's for the game, but they're having a hard time realizing that, or they're having a hard time remembering the purpose of the show, of why you're there. Everyone is playing very emotional with their friendships. So it's hard. The other thing with Amanda is She obviously, what's that?
I said yes and no, but hold on. Well,
Okay.
I agree, but I also think Devin, I think Nelson really did call him out. It's like, Devin, your skill is that you're a master manipulator and you wound with your words. And he knew he was hurting Tori and making her question what she did. He didn't pull that shit on Kyle. He didn't say, I'm upset with you. I'm mad at you. You ruined my team. Because Kyle would be like, are you fucking out of your mind? Of course I took out who I thought I could take out. What the fuck is wrong with you? With Tori, it's like, God, was it wrong of me to fight? Like, there's at least a question. I think she came to herself, but I think he manipulated her. It's like, you're a sweet person that values our friendship. So I'm going to sit here and be like, you did me dirty. You did me wrong. I trusted you. With Kyle would be like, what? I didn't pick you. Shut the fuck up. You know, like enough said. Like, you're mad that I took your Josh away? Right. He knows who he's doing it to and what he's doing. And he did. He made Tori cry. He made her upset. He saved himself from elimination. She cried and ugly cried. Don't pick Devin. I mean, like, he did. He got what he wanted out of manipulating her.
Yeah.
And again, at least she came to her senses, but we're not going to blame the guy, your best friend, that sent home your teammate directly, but you're going to blame Tori, who got booted from your team and made a strategic move to try and win. It had nothing to do with it. You.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. I feel like Devin has been kind of frustrating. Like, sorry.
Yeah, and they're new. He's like, it's a new budding friendship. It's not like Amanda and Ashley that really are like best friends, or Tori and Anissa that are like your number one in life. It's like, fine, then you're probably going to be less, you know, you're not going to screw over someone that is your real life best friend that you, but in this, it's like, look, I met you 2 months ago. Like, we're not that great of friends. Like, I'm not going to give you $1 million. Like, I'm, you know, I'll win and then I'll give you $1,000. How about that? But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and I think Devin is just doing that incredibly annoying thing where he's putting his game in the hands of other people when it serves him to use that as an excuse. You have allies, you have friends that work with you, but you can never expect any other person in this house to play for you. You just can't. They're going to have to play for themselves. So you can't, like, and what's great actually is we get the confessionals of everybody seeing through him, of everybody saying like, he's become a little bit too big for his bridges here. Like, he's definitely, this game is getting to him. We're all seeing through him. We're all like, he's looking like a mess, basically is what they're saying. So everyone's seeing it too. So
right. He is his like scared eyes and like, well, okay. Nelson's
yeah.
Like, Devin, come on. You know your strengths. You know your weaknesses. Don't act like you're this great competitor that's bringing this team. I personally still, it makes me so mad. I don't mean to be a broken record, but I hate the cells. I don't understand how they keep having 5 people. It's like, oh, it was staggered. The team with 5 finished first and 4 finished second to last and 3. It's like, yes, if you've got more people doing something, it takes less time. Like,
you know what? Like, I'm trying to come around to the cells. I'm not trying to have the cells burst my bubble. I'm trying to just be okay with them. I think it's interesting in a way where people want to stay with their teammates. I love the fact that we're just about to get into the challenge. I was just going to segue to it, but I love the fact that Ruby put up such a great fight tonight. You see that Ruby has skill as well as Emerald. It doesn't have to be Emerald's world, even though the cells make it seem that way. But what's annoying is that they keep having the number. So that's the fault that we keep talking about. That's the whole hot mess situation of whatever happened with production and storytelling, where this little thing slipped through the cracks. But I'm trying to just like find peace with the cells, and I'm trying to like, you know, make sure that I can get at least the comedic value or like some of the competitive value to that. But the challenge tonight, they show the vaults. Every vault has $1 million in it. And I'm like, they just need to put this in their bag, get in that car and speed off into the sunset. There's your $1 million. That's how you win the game. If you want a real heist, take off on one of those boats, go Outer Banks on that bitch. John B and Sarah, you're out.
Yes.
And make your millions and be out. But it was funny because they opened the vault and you immediately just see singles. You just see $1 bills. So I know in order to break down $1 million, you have to have it very vastly spread out. You need the single dollars, but I couldn't help but giggle at that. And the whole time I'm like, are they really playing with money? I'm like, this has to be Monopoly money. But the printouts looked pretty legit. So they did a good job in the prop department making us think this is $1 million.
But no, they're not running with bags of millions of dollars, I don't think. But I wish that they could have just taken that money and stuffed it in a car and had a waiting. Yeah, like TJ, come on, we'll split the million with you.
Awesome with you, TJ.
Yeah.
What shape are these producers in? Could they really have caught up with them? Give it a shot. And then what an amazing show you would have. You would be outlaws, challenge outlaws.
And then the whole show could be trying to hunt them down. Like,
I think this was the storytelling that they needed. We found the way to go off of the beaten path.
That would be good.
What were your overall thoughts on the
Overall, I thought both, but I liked it. Again, I'm just so over the cell thing. And Emerald is all about the numbers. If you combine the other two teams, which each of 3 now, so it was 6 versus that 5. Are you kidding me? Those 6 would crush Emerald. Of course they can't. There's no way. It's only because they're 5 versus 3 really good players. Like, both those teams are way better than the sum of Emerald if they were combined. Yeah. It's just so, I've just, like, since it started, every episode I keep waiting for it to be over. Because it's not
because of the cells, because you hate the cells.
Every time I'm like, this is the week that he says, okay, you 5 are now going to go against you, a merger of 6. Yeah, 6 versus 5. It's been 5 versus 3 for 3 weeks. Like, I hate it. But I thought that that $1 million hype was really great. And I really liked the elimination. I thought it was great. I was, again, spoiler alert, jumping ahead, terrified. I thought Emmy was going to go home because CT, I thought that was foreshadowing. He's like, Kyle's just like bad luck. When he comes, he's like, things just like go wrong. He's just bad luck. And I thought Big T was going to send Emmy home.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about the elimination in just a few more minutes. The challenge today I thought was actually really good. I thought that it looked exhausting. There was no doubt about that. It was hot. They were sweaty. They were tired. A lot of them were getting very fatigued. I thought Nelson crushed it. He looked very athletic. This is the sort of competition that's right up Nelson's alley. This is what he trains for. All of the hill sprints, all of the lifting weights and running up hills with weights, like this was made for Nelson. I thought Logan also looked incredible. The communication with Ruby was great. However, my one bone to pick with Tori is I felt she was a little bit too hard on Big T, honestly. And I'm not in her shoes, so I can understand it's very frustrating. It's high emotions, high intensity. It's hot. You're sweating. So you're going to be annoyed if you feel like somebody's not doing their share. But I do feel like the way she communicated with her, I felt like she was dogging Big T just a little bit too much.
I was like, God, that she's nicer than I would have been. Because
she
got in the wrong car.
See, that's what's so funny about the perception.
She was like, I love you, girl, but you got to get your head in the game. Like, that was the only... I didn't think that was too mean. I was like, God.
Oh, really? Okay. So I thought she was kind of yelling at her a little bit. It was like, Big T, get the fuck out of there. She's like, Big T, you're not helping. You're not doing this right.
Because she was doing it wrong. It wasn't just like Big T, oh my God. Because they almost had a shot at winning. I mean, and then she was nice when Big T's like, you guys would have won if it wasn't for me. She was like, no, that's not true. And it wasn't true. Like Big T.
I think that's what it is I'm so sensitive to Big T. I feel like her protector. So she's so kind and like gracious to everybody that I just feel bad, but it's a competition. And so if she's not holding her weight, I guess you got to communicate with her like that. But
yeah. And she's not. Like, I love her. I love her. I really love Big T, and I think she's so eloquent. Everything she says sounds like it's like going to a garden party. Like, she sounds so. It could be like a party, right? And it'd be like, I had made a thought. Everything sounds so elegant, but no, I'd be really. First of all, she shouldn't. It's like my Josh. It's like she shouldn't even be there. She's on borrowed time. It's like if she beat Emmy tonight, I would have been like, well, now they're even, and they can both.
I am blinded because for some reason, I don't think she did that bad. So I was kind of upset too when they talked about it later on, they're like, she was such a weak link. And I guess she's the weakest link. But then my fiance was like, well, think about it. She wasn't carrying any of the bags. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. She really wasn't doing anything.
Like, giving her like, clean up the money after we run. Yeah. I mean, like, no, she is not cut out for it. And she's adorable and I love her too. But I was really glad because if on some fluke Emmy law, I felt bad. I would have felt really bad. And Big T, I did feel like was on borrowed time. And part of, did you watch the Aftermath last week? They were like, did you kind of want to go home? And she's like, a little. Like well, when she watched, was like, oh no, I have to stop.
It's tough because you do reap what you sow. So if you're not in shape and you're not doing the work and you're not trying to work out and your head's not in the game, then yeah, people are going to be annoyed with you and maybe you don't deserve to be there when people would be fighting every second to be in your shoes. So that is true. I guess I just feel a little bit of sympathy for her because she doesn't feel like anybody's kind of on her side. And CT, somebody who was her best friend seasons ago, right? And her partner and her biggest supporter. That's really crushing to hear somebody who you thought was your coach and was your best friend a few seasons ago. He's got a new one. He replaced you and now it's Emmy. And now he's all team Emmy and coaching her through every second.
Totally true. And 1,000,000%. I felt like I love Big T. This isn't one where I'm like, oh, shut up, who cares? I totally feel for Big T and that must hurt. However, that was a non-choice. That was a forced partnership where it's like, I'm going to try and make this work. So it's like, yes, he tried to help you and build you up because you were his partner. And it was a, you have to, I don't feel like, oh, he just traded her in for Emmy. It's like, well, him and Emmy work great together on purpose, not just by, they're choosing to work with each other. And no, CT was a jerk to Big T last season. The way he handled it, again, when he was like, Cam, I want Cam, that was really crappy.
Yeah.
Rude and like not nice to his feelings. But there's something to be said for CT plays kind of a cold game at this point. And I feel like there's something to be said for this when you're Josh and now Devin. I love that Devin's become a Josh. It's like, my friend, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing all that. It's like, well, then I'm not your friend. How about that? We're not friends. We're colleagues. Yeah, we're doing this together. We chat. We're colleagues. We're coworkers. I like you, but no, you're not my friend. I'm not gonna, it's thin line when it's like my friend didn't, even Emmy got mad at Emmanuel. My friend didn't protect me. It's like, there's only so much your friendship can do.
Yeah, that's the thing where I guess none of us ever really know unless we're in their shoes, because I'm totally with you. I agree. It's like you can't expect your friend to take you through the entire game. You signed up for a game show. You have to go in. And that's always been my biggest point of frustration of feeling like everybody's hypocritical. Like they have no problem saying that to anybody else. Like, listen, I have to do what's best for my game. But they can't take it when it's somebody else doing the best for their game. And that means throwing them into a fucking game show. What you signed up for?
Right. Especially, there's a very big difference that everyone conveniently forgets. There's a really big difference between being like, blood oath, I will never say your name. Like, this is a promise. And right, like blood oath. Like, blood oath till death do us part. We're in alliance. I'll never say you. You'll never say me. And then you go against that. That is a betrayal. That is, you broke my trust. We had this agreement. Being on a team with people and working with them, and then you're no longer on a team. It doesn't mean Emerald wasn't picked because they were best friends. They didn't pick it. That was not an alliance. It was a cell based on who ran somewhere first. So to be like, you betrayed me when you left my team. It's like, because then I left your team. Like, you can't, people have to understand there's a good social game where you're friends and friendly with everyone. And then there's a difference between alliances and promises and betrayals. And I would never do this to you. I think most people have a number one that, I think Nani would be upset if Casey threw her in. Yeah. Like there's certain things that it's like, whoa, that's cold.
Tori Nelson.
General, Tori and Nelson, right. If you've got that really tight.
Yeah, Devin and Tori just doesn't fit that situation. And he's trying to make it fit.
Right, and also she didn't do anything to him. She just tried to win for her team. Like that is not the same as voting Devin to death. Like she just tried to win.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the challenge a little bit. Because Emeralds, they perform very well as expected though, because they have the numbers.
I wrote this back, Big T, not good. That's
not good.
Not good.
Poor Big T, not good. Something else that I took away from the challenge was the communication between Team Sapphire, because now Kyle is back there. And I felt that CT was being Big Daddy and he just wanted to sun Kyle. Like he just wanted to at any moment say something to Kyle, like, Kyle, you're not doing that right. Like, Kyle, no, do it this way. Come on, do it, work harder. And I was like, damn, CT is getting on Kyle's ass tonight.
Yeah, CT's I did think he was a little extra with his. It's like Kyle's, again, I thought Emmy was saying it right. We all know Kyle's kind of a dog. It's not surprising. Why are you surprised? And why are you being so mad about it? I guess he just doesn't want to fuck with Kyle, and Kyle keeps
right.
Kyle keeps Kyle loves him. It's like
sucking onto him. Yeah. I think CT probably often feels like, and I feel like he's felt like this his entire challenge career, because I was just watching Free Agents last night actually, and people do latch on to him because he's CT, and I think that he knows how good he is, and he gets annoyed when he feels like there's somebody who's maybe lesser or whatever it is that latches onto him. So maybe Kyle's very athletic, but maybe his ability to constantly mess up instructions and have these fumbles and spoofs is just like CT is annoyed that now he's with him again. But that was very apparent. Like he was not trying to work together as a team. He was trying to sun Kyle. They did the best that they could. They have 3 people.
That was my other notice. 5 versus 3, fuck off. Like it's not fuck off. It's really not. This challenge like has no rules. It's like everyone went on strike midway, and TJ's like, I guess my game now is 5 versus 3. Like, what is it next week? Gonna be 1 versus 6? Like it's just gonna keep Emerald versus CT. Like, I don't understand how like you can't have 5 versus 3. That's not. They've never in any other. It's not how it works.
Right. And there's actually an interesting point in that realm where Sapphire is just taking that on the chin, because they're pretty old school. So you have CT, you have Emmy who's just working for CT, and you have Kyle who's been around the block. But I feel like if you get one of these other teams and they had only 3 members, I feel like they would be bitching. Like Team Emerald would be the first. Devin, Nani,
Amanda, Nani on the team. We're just 3. Right.
It's 3.
Like, well, you've been beating a team, and then you have then imagine. So if it was Amanda, Devin, and Nani, and then they gave Casey, Tori, Emmy, CT, and Logan was like the 5, and it's like, what? It's just the way it went. Can you imagine how much?
Yeah. I think strategically with this challenge, it was curious to me that they weren't sharing the load often enough. And I mean, I guess we also are victim to the editing. What they edit is what we get. So I'm sure that they use that more, but a lot of the guys were just taking the load of the bags themselves. And I felt like that's going to tire them out more. That's kind of, not the best strategy. You should be able to share the load of the bag and kind of run together with each person taking a handle to try to split the weight, especially in teams where you have the numbers to do that. Well, I don't know if CT or Kyle felt that maybe doing that with Emmy would be a deficit to them, but they didn't really try to share the load with her at all. They just kind of took that on from what I could see.
It was more effective for them, big, strong guys, to just do it and to get it done. Team Emerald, because they have 5 players, was able to do that.
Yeah.
We're able to do the handles, but if you've got 3 people, you're not doing that.
Yeah. So let's talk about getting into the elimination. We'll quickly go over deliberations, because I can just say I was just disappointed that they decided to send Big T in when they talk all this game and they're like, no, we don't want to send her in because we don't want her to win and infiltrate us. But then they just send her in anyway. So there was
anyway. Why make an enemy out of it?
they make these episodes an hour and a half and 45 minutes is fucking deliberation, and they just do what we expected them to do anyway.
I'm glad they did that because Big T was going in no matter what. So if she was going to beat someone, she was going to beat them. Making an enemy out of either Emmy or Tori when Big T's going in against one of them no matter what was just stupid.
It's a smart thing to do. I guess
Yeah.
it's just one of those things for what we say as, you know, the viewers. It just was like, okay, all that for nothing again. Man, we really could have skimmed through this, couldn't we have?
I'm really glad for Tori. I mean, I like the you know, I'm glad she didn't have to go in, and I'm glad.
Taking my biases and my like for certain characters out of it, I was thinking that they should put Tori versus Emmy in. At least maybe the girls would want to do that to try to take out a strong competitor. For the guys, it doesn't really make sense if they want, because we don't know if they're working in teams or not. So keeping Big T around could ultimately be a deficit to their game. But I think in terms of just making sure that they continue to win the rest of the daily challenges, like why not put Tori and Emmy against each other?
Sure. Yeah, because they don't have that choice. That was the whole point. If they could have, I'm sure they would have. If they could have voted two people in, they absolutely would have.
Yeah.
The person you vote as the house vote gets the choice. So,
and that's why we're kind of missing like a Cam, like we're missing somebody to try to rally the troops and the rest of the house to kind of try to make moves, to try to make plans. I don't know if there's no fight in trying to see if anybody would decide to put Emmy down. I mean, I'm sure it would create an explosion, but that's kind of what the challenge has always done, is like creating these things, and it just is so predictable.
And if they should have, I mean, I guess they got gun shy after last week, but the two teams should have teamed up again this week against Emerald. And two Emerald girls against each other. So it was another all teams of one girl. If Ruby and Sapphire teamed up and said, look, we're agreeing this one's going to win, and that's their only hope with the numbers the way they are, is to work together. So I think they should have done it again.
Yeah. Elimination. Ice bath, no thanks. What were your thoughts?
I thought Big T was going to win like 100%. And which would have been like, woo, like a exciting upset for the show. But at the same time, I was like, I love Big T too. This isn't one of those, like, I hate her. I don't think she deserves to be there anymore. I would have felt really bad for Emmy or Tori going home at this point, like heartbroken. And I think sometimes I have faith in the challenge when it gets this close to end. Sometimes flukes happen, but sometimes it does wind down. I'm like, these people are all really good that wind up being in challenges or finals. So I was glad. I thought it was a good elimination. And again, I was on the edge of my seat because I was like, Emmy's not going to be able to do the puzzle. And Big T jumping in was much better strategy. You know, she jumped like 3 feet in, and then she just had like 3 feet to swim. I was really glad to not see Emmy go. And yeah, I love Big T, but I think her time had come. And it was a really cool elimination. And it was an equalizer. It could have been anybody's game.
Yeah, I think that Emmy has worked so hard in the challenges, and this was her 4th elimination. So she's definitely more deserving. However, I, of course, is rooting for Big T because that's my girl. And I guess I'm biased. You can't help but root for, you know, when you feel like someone's your friend, of course, you're going to root for them. And I think Big T has a really good poker face. So that entire elimination, I was thinking similar to you that she was going to win just because it seemed like she was focused and locked in. But I don't really think that seeing the visual of the puzzle actually proves that to be the case. I don't really know if she was really putting the puzzle together, but she at least looked like she had it going on. And getting in and out of the ice bath was very impressive for both of them. Like, they didn't scream, they didn't really wince that much. They said in their confessionals that it sucked, but even just having to do that for like
thinking about
sports in college, oh my god, terrible. I can't even like put my toe in it. You got to put your whole body. They just did it, man. They just did the task at hand and didn't complain about it. It's one of those things where you could say it's annoying that CT helped Emmy solve the puzzle and a little bit unfair. You know, it's kind of like, you don't want to say things are unfair. You don't want to whine or complain, but he was full force helping her put that puzzle together.
How much did it help too? Can you imagine someone screaming from above, put that on the left? It's like, I don't know how really helpful that is. I mean,
he wanted to do it, man. He was trying. He was like pretending he was the one down there doing it.
Yeah.
Emmy always has epic reactions to her winning. She has the sand. Like, yeah, man. She feels. And Big T just kind of like pranced off in her big T, graceful way.
Yeah, adorable, graceful exit. Her village she's going home a winner. You know, just I love CT. Even I don't think she's a great competitor all the time, but I always love seeing her. But yeah, no, I was happy. It would have been really pretty crushing if after all that they've really been through and I think really earned their spots and hurting the rest of the teams that want Tori and Emmy there to have it turn out any other way. So
what do you think about Emmy deciding to stay on, what did she call it, Sapphire? Because she kind of, with the language barrier. Yeah. What do you think about her staying with Sapphire?
I don't know. I think those two guys I think everybody not on Emerald is almost more solid than anybody on Emerald. It's just the numbers. So eventually that's going to have to end. Eventually or not. Is the challenge going to be 3 versus 5? I mean, like, I don't know. It's honestly, it drives me nuts because I feel like it's insulting almost as a viewer. It's like, these aren't fair odds. And in the whole 37 seasons of the challenge, usually they make someone's like, why is it all of a sudden okay that there's totally off numbers?
Yeah. And it's also too that my understanding is you have to take somebody else's spot. I think it could have been interesting for her to have gone to Ruby because Ruby's looking pretty good. You have Tori, Logan, and Nelson over there. They almost beat a team that has more numbers than them. They're almost very athletic. And you know what? They might lack a little bit in the puzzle area. I don't really know if any of them are strong at that. So that would be their weakness. But Emmy, I mean, she would be leaving Kyle and CT alone. So it would be ridiculously outnumbered. But for herself, that could be an interesting idea. You know, it wouldn't be the worst thing. But I was thinking, if we're trying to be smart here, you should probably just go to Emerald at this point. They have the numbers, mainly because they have the numbers. Although CT is a better athlete and Kyle is better than Devin. I mean, you have Emmanuel over there who's been proving himself. If you take Amanda, you also have Casey, and Nani seems to be holding her own and working well in that team. So why Sapphire?
Why is everyone like, oh, I would take Amanda's spot? I guess you don't want to get rid of it. I'm like, go take a good player out of there. Like, if you want to do that, then go take Casey's spot.
That's what I was thinking at first. Numbers and love to shuffle things up. But if you take a good player, then if you go to that team, you're taking away a good teammate. You know, that team is going to help you. I know I had that. I couldn't help but have that same gut reaction. Right. I was like, take Casey.
For us, like, take Casey, then fine. Give Casey, CT, and Kyle. Like, you go mix it up. I mean, I feel like at that point it's almost interchangeable. Like a strong girl. There's 3 strong girls left. And not that Nani and Amanda are useless, but there's 3 physically strong girls that are like a hierarchy, workhorses. Sure. Yeah. So it's like, in terms of the hustle and physicality, they're almost interchangeable, you know, but you need one of them. If you got Casey off Emerald, and if you had 2 of them, I don't know. It's just like,
I think we want it because we want things mixed up.
Right.
We just want some moves to be made.
Yeah. And I'm just stuck on how weird and unfair the whole thing to me. I'm like, okay, but wait, what? Like, really? Every week it's just like 5 versus 3.
I know. But you know what? We're in it now. And I'm just trying to ride this thing out. And I'm going to try to allow myself to be entertained and shocked every week, even. But I'm just gonna try to find the positive. Like, this challenge was great today.
No Josh. We didn't have to listen to Josh say he was protecting everybody. But now playing the role of Josh is Devin. Now we have Devin. What about me? Yeah.
The negative of this season.
Yeah, the baby. Devin's turning into a baby. But me, what about my game? I'm so close.
Dismal Devin.
Win.
Dismal is a word for that, right? Dismal Devin.
Dismal Devin. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any news and gossip? Anything else?
No, not really.
Happy
Thanksgiving. Yeah, like no, we've got cooking to do. You know, I'm sure everybody has cooking to do.
What do you want our hashtag Dismal Devin? Have you been
Dismal Devin? Yeah, hashtag Dismal Devin. We love you guys. That's all. I gotta go put some sweet potato casserole in the oven.
I got some cooking to do. All right, thanks guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
We'll see you next week, and I think we can tease it because I think it's official.